morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, SDA, how are you, babe? So, there's a lot of news going on, and I'm just like sitting back thinking, should I report on this? Should I not report on this? Hey, Jackie, nice to see you, babe. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a minute. But no, I should report on this because how many years have I been reporting that these celebrities are doing these things that they shouldn't be doing behind closed doors? I mean, you got to kind of think of this. You're a millionaire, you're a billionaire, right? Hey, Fancy, how are you, honey? You're a millionaire, you're a billionaire. You could have anything you want. You ain't got to take nothing from nobody, right? You could have any girl that you want over the age of 18. You can. I mean, you pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Money talks, bullshit walks. We all know this. But when you have so much money and so much play, and then the higher up says, oh, do as thou wilt. I found some things last night. Oh no, you had a head cold? Oh, those ain't no fun. So I found out some things last night. I was watching some videos about Diddy, okay? And it's some people that come out with true stories and things like this. And every one of them was a horror story, but not just a horror story. It was like all of the stuff that I had researched all these years coming back just full-fledged in my face, right? And it kind of took me by surprise because there was some things that was even more grotesque. Hey, Princess, that was even more grotesque than I'd even told to all of you, just some things just, and I thought about it and I was like, should I let all of you hear it or is it going to ruin you for life, and then if I let you hear it, are you going to believe it? Because listen, a lot of these people think that these stars are like gods, okay? And they're not. They're that's the lowest thing that they are. We always should look at our Heavenly Father as, that's what we look up to. We don't look at stars because stars are flawed, okay? They're humans. Everybody makes mistakes. Humans are not perfect. We all make mistakes. Therefore, people are going hard right now for Jay Z, right? And they're saying, oh, he didn't do it. Murder's coming out saying he didn't do it. All these people are saying he didn't do it, okay? But if it was the other way around, would Jay Z give a shit about any of you? Does he even know any of you exist? The people that are saying he didn't do it. Have you been a fly on the wall? Have you been anywhere near Jay Z? Have you been in Jay Z's presence? Have you been around him? Have you even talked to him? Do you even know him? Most of you would say no. Never met the guy, only seen the guy on TV, only know of the guy singing with Foxy when she was 15, signing her when she was 15, getting with Beyonce when she was 16, coming out when she was 18, that they're together, right? Aaliyah was what, 15? Aaliyah is no longer with us. But there's a pattern there of younger age at that point. Also, who did they hang out with? Oh, that's right, R. Kelly. Where is R. Kelly? Oh, he's in prison. What's he in prison for? The same exact thing that these people are being accused of. See, he wasn't as big, right? So it was easier to take R. Kelly down in 2018 than it was to hit up Puff Daddy, than it was to hit Jay Z. But I want to tell you something. They just now, and the girl that is accusing Jay Z of this, that was 13 years old, she's not backing down. She's now coming forward and saying this. She's now saying, listen, I don't rule out doing a criminal complaint against you with the FBI or whoever it be. But Tony says that that's up to his client, right? that slapped him with a civil lawsuit. Okay. But in a statement emailed to TMZ, Busby said he's not ruling out filing grape charges against Jay Z with New York authorities. What happens next is up to his client. It's her case, and what she decides to do, you will find out in due course. Per New York State, there is no statute of limitations for alleged victims to file first-degree felony grape complaint. As we reported Monday, Busby filed civil Jay Z claiming the rapper rugged and raped a 13-year-old girl along with Diddy at a party following the MTV Music Awards in 2000. Jay replied by saying the grape allegation is so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Wouldn't you agree? That's right, Jay Z, but when did you deny it? When did you get up there and say, you are defaming my name? I have never touched a child in my life. I will see you in court. You didn't ever do that, Jay Z. You know what you did do? You defamed the attorney. And then you tried to make us feel sorry that you had to sit down and tell your kids about this. That's not our problem. You shouldn't be running around with birds of a feather that flock together, right? You shouldn't be running around with children, allegedly. So right now, it's anyone's guess where this issue over criminal complaint is headed. But one thing for sure, Busby is not shy about bringing legal action against anyone, no matter who they are. Now, that's the facts. He don't care. What's more, Busby and his client, identified as Jane Doe, originally filed the suit only against Diddy in October, accusing the Bad Boy Records founder and anonymous celebrity of ex-assaulting her while an unnamed female looked on. Okay. Jane Doe then amended the suit and identified Jay as the anonymous celebrity, refiling that legal document Sunday. As you know, Jay furiously denied all accusations. Well, in his way, I guess we could say, in his fiery statement posted to Instagram. I guess, we could say, it says, we've reached out to Jay Z's rep and lawyer. So far, no word back. Okay. But I guess if you want to say that he came back and he said something, okay, yeah, he did. He came back and he wanted us to feel sorry that his kids got to be set down. He said that file a criminal complaint. He said that the people were trying to extort him. They wasn't getting one red penny. Okay. Now, this is the thing. The girl is, let's see, when was it? I can't remember when they said this was. This was the 2000, right? She would have been 13. I'm trying to think of how old I was in 2000. I was 24. Okay, so this kid is 10 years younger or 11 years younger than me, so I'm 49. So this kid's right now. This woman is 38 years old. Just take a second and think about what we've talked about these celebrities, right? Now, if you look at the lawsuit, she says she was so excited. Now, think about a 13-year-old's mind. She was so excited. She was, really wanting to get into the VMA awards, so she could see all of these different celebrities and all these different things. And she was going up and down the limousines, asking them if they could get her in because she had this feeling that she could get in the VMA awards without a ticket. And then finally, she gets one driver. And the driver says to her, oh, you're just what Diddy likes. Meet me back here and I'll take you to an after party. Okay? You're 13 years old. Think in your 13-year-old mind. Go back to your 13-year-old mind and think about how you thought about celebrities when you was 13. Just celebrities in general, okay? And this limo driver is like, I will take you to an after party. You will get to meet them all. How exciting. How fun. I'm going to get to meet all the people that I look up to. I'm going to get to meet all of them. I'm going to get to go to this after party. I'm going to get to be like an adult. I'm 13, but I'm going to get to be like an adult. I'm going to fit right in. I'm going to go get autographs. I'm going to do whatever. Okay. And then you get driven to this house and you walk in and nobody talks to you. You kind of go up and you talk to a few celebrities that you know, but nobody really, you don't fit in. You don't fit in. You're a kid. You're not fitting in. Okay. But then you decide, these waiters are going around with these drinks and you decide, well, I might as well just try this. Everybody else is trying it. Let me try it. And so you try the drink and the next thing you know, you just feel real wobbly and just kind of discombobulated. So you try to go find a place to lay down because you're so discombobulated, you're going to fall down probably at 13. You may weigh 80 pounds, maybe, if you're lucky, right? And if there's rugs in a drink, you ain't going to make it that far. So you go lay down, you don't lock the door, you don't think nothing about it. You're pretty much done with the party at that point because you're feeling woozy and stuff, right? So you're not wanting to see any more celebrities. But since there's cameras throughout the whole house and stuff, all of a sudden, 3 people walk in the room, and one is who? Allegedly Diddy. One is who? Allegedly Jay Z. And one is who? Another famous person. It was a woman. And they start throwing you around, and you can't stumble, you can't stand up. But then they throw you on the bed, and they start having their way with you. And you're in and out, but you don't understand what's going on. These are supposed to be people that you looked up to, that you thought were cool. But when you first got to the party, you had to sign this piece of paper. You don't know what the piece of paper is, but you had to sign it. So you finally, in the middle of it, you finally kind of fight back and you start punching and stuff, and they get scared of you and kind of leave you alone. You get your clothes and you run out. You run far, far away. You get to a station. You have to call your dad because you had lied. And your dad comes and picks you up. You tell your dad you had lied, yada, yada, okay? You hide this secret all of these years. You're scared. This person's getting more powerful, more money. You're hiding this secret. They're getting more powerful, more money. But a part of you died that day, that evening, whatever it was. You never looked at people the same, right? And then years later, you're still thinking, that's never going to leave my mind. It's never leaving my mind. Like, these people really need to pay for what they've done. I'm old enough now that I can stand up to them. I'm not scared anymore. You go find you a good attorney and you start the process. Now, is the process going to be sweet and easy? No. Are you going to be slandered and ridiculed? Yeah. Is fans going to be fanatics and be like, no, they didn't do it. You're a horrible person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you have to go through hell all over again and relive everything that you already lived? Yep. Is that easy for any victim? No. Is it even easy to come forward and say something even happened? Especially to one of the top rap industry. 2 of them. One is a billionaire, the other one's 800 million, right? No, it's not easy at all. But just imagine the money, the power, and everything else that they have. And you don't. Or maybe during this time you became a celebrity. Maybe you've seen more. I don't know. Maybe you got money. I don't know. We don't know who the actual accuser is yet. Okay? All we know is that Not one time did Jay Z deny it. Did he say, I didn't do this. I'm going to sue you for defamation. I will see you in court. I would never touch a child. Did he say that? No, he didn't. He sure didn't. So as the news goes on and stuff, I'm going to come back and I'm going to play some of them stories. I'm thinking about playing some of them stories of people having different things to do with Diddy. And they came on here and they said different stories about what happened. You know, and it kind of goes with, I want to just warn you here, it kind of goes with the Hollydale. It's really no different. It's a house of horror. The ones that made it out, you're lucky. But has anybody thought about the ones that never made it out or didn't have a name? Maybe they wasn't so lucky, right? But anyway, so what do you think about this? Okay. So you're going, look, you got to think about this. This is somebody going up against, this is not somebody coming to YouTube. Okay. This is not somebody coming to YouTube. This is somebody going to an attorney that wins almost all of his cases, that dots his I's and crosses his T's before he even takes a case. This is an attorney that says, I have evidence. I have tapes. I have text messages. I have pictures. And I don't know if it's for this alleged victim or more, because when the lawsuit came out, or when Jay Z came back with his demands on the lawsuit, it said victims. It said that Busby, now mind you, there's only one complaint so far, but it says Busby's trying to get him for several victims. Plural. Where's the other victims? See, he knows something we don't know. We only know of one victim, allegedly, that had originally went after Diddy. Kept his name secret, and even his name was still secret when he sued Busby undercover. And then when all names were to be released, that's when Busby found out for sure that it was Jay Z that was suing him and his company and his law firm. Because he pretty much filed as a John Doe, okay? So, and then he's saying, so this client can't file as a Jane Doe. He can file as a John Doe, you know, to Busby, but this client needs to say who the heck she is, which, okay, if you're going to accuse someone, I think you should stand on business. I think you should stand on your name. And yeah, you're going to take the chance of maybe not being here. You're going to take the chance of maybe not, you know, maybe somebody getting a hold of you if you ain't got the protection that you need. Right. Imagine all the money. If you looked at all the money that's been paid off for all of these rich pervs and stuff, for all these allegations and stuff that never came to pass. Yeah. Or silence to where they don't come back. Right. Right. Very strange, huh? Well, I thought I would play something for you all, and you just decide from there what you think of this story. Supposedly, it is a true story, but I don't know. Because I wasn't there. I'm not a fly on the wall, and I don't know if this was true or not true. But I do know that it kind of goes along with what I've tried to tell all of you for many, 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 many years, you know. It kind of goes along with it, you know. And also, they hang out with Marina Brockovich, which we've learned a lot about that person. You know what I mean? So, I almost wouldn't put it past them. But we're going to go see. Let me see if I can find. I have to find it now. I was watching it last night and I was like, oh, this is crazy. But then it ain't crazy. It seems crazy, but it's not crazy. Because the things that I know and the things that I don't know. I just yeah. It's not that far-fetched from what I've researched and stuff. So this one is the one I'm going to play, and then the other ones, you know, I'll put the link and you guys can find it, because I just find this one to be very more interesting to put out to all of you. So this is about a pilot, okay? The dark side of being Diddy's jet pilot. I paid the price. Now, I hope that these people that are sending this information of these true stories that he's getting off of Reddit, 4chan, Top Secret, and stuff like that, I hope that maybe they'll come and they'll be a witness, because this would help a lot.
Welcome, outsider. He accepted an irresistible forever. Mike, a private pilot, was hired to transport a businessman to a paradise island. On board, strange objects, eerily quiet children would never forget what he island haunted, and the truth he hides strives. Did you like the story? So subscribe below what you would do in Mike's place. It all started quite simply, but sometimes the most disturbing things in life come disguised as perfect opportunities. I'm Michael Anderson, a pilot for almost 2 decades, many destinations, and transported all types of passengers. When I got that call, it didn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. Private job, short flight, well paid. But the payment was exceptionally generous, and the contractor is the name everyone knows. My attention immediately. At first I hesitated. You know, if it seems too good true, it usually is, but to pay. The possibility of taking a vacation with my family made the decision seem reasonable. So I accepted. I was ready to do what I do best: fly, deliver the passenger, and return home. On the flight, something seemed strange to me from the beginning. The hangar was unusually busy. More people than necessary. Security guards walked back and forth with serious faces. It seemed like everyone was in a hurry, almost as if they didn't want to be seen. There was a heavy silence in the air, the kind of tension you only feel when something is about to happen and you don't know what. As soon as I got on the plane, I started to notice the details. The boxes being loaded, without any clear identification, just codes and labels that no one bothered to explain. When the passengers arrived, that's when I felt my first real chill. There were children. They were well dressed, but there was something in their eyes that bothered me. They seemed disconnected, as if they were physically present, but the mind was somewhere else, somewhere other than there. It was a flight to an island in the Bahamas. One of those isolated islands you see on postcards but rarely visit. It was just supposed to be a job. I was the pilot, that's all, and my job was to get to the destination. But as I sat in the cockpit and prepared for takeoff, the feeling of discomfort only grew. There was something about the situation that wasn't right, but at the same time, I was too committed to leave. When the propellers started to turn and the sound of the engines filled the cabin, I did what I've always done in my career. I focused on work. I disconnected from what was beyond my control and focused on doing what I knew. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was crossing an invisible line, that I was entering something I could never forget. As the plane gained altitude, that cold feeling down my spine only got worse. And it was there that I realized that this flight would not be just another job. I was about to witness something that would change my life forever. And if I'd known what I was getting myself into, I would never have accepted it. The cockpit lights blinked calmly, but inside me I knew something was out of place, and I was about to find out how far this could all go. We were in the air. The tranquility of the sky contrasted with the atmosphere on the plane. I wanted to believe that everything was normal, but as the hours passed, I realized that this was different from any flight I had ever flown. In the cabin, the air pressure felt heavy, and every little noise seemed amplified. I tried to focus on the monitors, the control panel, anything that distracted me from the growing restlessness that consumed me. From the cockpit, I could see part of the cabin through the partially open door. The children, silently, sat in rows near the back of the plane, always quiet, always with those blank expressions. It was a disturbing contrast to the rest of the group. The difference in energy was striking. While the adults laughed loudly, screamed, and celebrated in an almost chaotic way, those children seemed like prisoners, emotionally absent. It didn't take long for me to realize there was something strange about the load, too. When I first got on the plane, I noticed some boxes and bags of different dimensions being loaded. I didn't think much of it at the time, but something about the smell coming from some of them made me think of substances that, at the very least, should raise suspicion. There was a chemical smell, perhaps medicinal, that mixed with other scents that I couldn't identify. This heightened my sense that something was deeply wrong. That's when I started listening. First, laughter, which turned into muffled screams. I knew there were drinks, but it felt like so much more than that. They seemed like acts of complete insanity, which the cabin could not completely hide. The voices got louder, and I could clearly hear loose conversations, mention substances, names of people, references that seemed alarming to me. But what caught my attention the most were the children, always quiet, always still, as if they were just there as extras in a grotesque show. My co-pilot, Peter, looked as uncomfortable as I felt. Every time we exchanged glances, it was as if sharing the same doubt. Is that right? What are we doing here? At one point, he turned to me and said, "Mike, something doesn't smell right. We need to be careful." I knew he was right. But our responsibility, our commitment, was to get the plane to its destination. Nothing more than that. There was a moment I heard a more intense argument coming from the back cabin. One of the passengers appeared to be out of control, shouting something unintelligible. All I could hear was the sound of objects breaking and a murmur like a muffled request. I wanted to look. I wanted to understand. But I felt powerless. We were thousands of meters high, trapped in that metal capsule, with no possibility of interfering. And so the flight continued, the minutes stretching out like hours. The atmosphere became thicker, almost suffocating, as anxiety grew inside me. As we got closer to the island, I couldn't help but feel like we were entering something much bigger, something we didn't understand. My only hope was to land, unload all the passengers and leaving this dark mystery behind. But something told me that upon landing, things would just start to get really weird. When I saw the island in the distance, I felt a chill run through me. It seemed like a piece of paradise. But inside me, something screamed that this place had a dark secret waiting for us. And I was right. The plane touched down on the island with a slight jolt. The sound of tires against the road echoed for a second, like a distant warning. I looked at the co-pilot, Peter, and we both shared a look of momentary relief. We were on dry land, but what awaited us was far from being a rest. When the plane door opened, a tropical scent invaded the cabin, a sweet smell of salt and vegetation, contrasting with the tense environment in which we had spent the last few hours. We got off the aircraft to help disembark, and for a brief moment, I thought maybe it was all just a mistaken impression. The beach looked like something out of a postcard. White, sand and crystal clear water reflecting the blue sky, but it wasn't long before that idyllic facade began to crumble. We were greeted by a group of men, all wearing sunglasses and clothes that were too elegant for the tropical climate. They didn't greet us. They just waved us out of the way while they began to organize the evacuation of passengers. Diddy, always surrounded by his companions, got off the plane smiling as if everything was perfectly normal. The children came down last, in silence, their gazes lost and their clothes out of place. That's when I realized that this wasn't just a fun trip. Before we could get back on the plane, one of the men approached us and with a stern expression informed us that Diddy wanted us to stay for the party. It would be disrespectful for us to refuse, he said, in a tone that left no room for questioning. Something about the way he said those words sounded like an order, not an invitation. I looked at Peter, who just nodded without saying anything. They took us to an area of the island, close to a large mansion that stood imposingly. In the distance, the music was already playing loudly, mixing with the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. The mansion had an air of grandeur, and at the same time something dark, as if it held secrets that should not reveal. There we were given clothes to wear, something that seemed more like a bad joke than clothing, which clearly made us look like part of a humiliating act. At the entrance to the mansion, we were offered drinks, and I noticed that Peter hesitated. I followed suit, but one of the men stared at us, as if to say we had no choice.
So that's one of the things I want to say. Do you notice in this, they were offered drinks? They had no, at first, allegedly in this story, it wasn't like, Diddy wants you to stay, can you stay? It was more of an order. And so then now they were handed drinks. This goes hand in hand with everything everybody else says that are actual suing him.
I took a sip and felt a strange, bitter taste, something that wasn't just alcohol. I tried to ignore the nausea that followed, but it was already clear that we had no control over the situation. In the mansion, the atmosphere is the opposite of what one would expect from a paradisiacal place. The lights were low. The music, although loud, had a distorted, almost unsettling tone. People were laughing and talking, but it was as if there was something mechanical about their gestures. Diddy circulated among his guests, greeting them like a perfect host, but there was a coldness in his eyes. The children were taken to a separate room, and I couldn't help but notice the fear in their eyes as they walked away. The music continued, the lights pulsed, and suddenly the room began to spin. My legs felt weak, and I knew at that moment that there was something in the drink. The world around me became increasingly confusing, and my vision blurred. I felt a hand on my shoulder, maybe from Peter, maybe from one of the security guards, and then everything went dark. My body gave way, and the last thing I heard was distant laughter, a sound that seemed to echo down a long, empty hallway. When I opened my eyes again, the light blinded me, and my body hurt in places I didn't remember. Hurting. I knew something had happened during that party, something I couldn't remember clearly, but the truth was about to be revealed to me, and not in a way I was prepared to face. When I finally came to, my body felt like it weighed a ton, and my vision took a while to focus. The lights still flickered, but more slowly and irregularly, as if the party was emptying out. My head hurt, and an uncomfortable feeling of numbness came over me. I didn't know how long it had been since I deleted it, but it was clear that something had changed. Party guests were still scattered around me, but the atmosphere had become eerie. Peter in our corner of the main room, on cushions that looked like they had been thrown there so as not to leave us on the cold floor. I looked at him and saw that he was waking up too, but there was something different in his eyes. He looked scared, lost, like someone waking up from a nightmare without being able to free themselves from their fear. Before I could ask anything, one of the security guards approached, indicating that we should get up. We were taken to the top floor of the mansion. The corridor was long, lit by small red lights that gave the room an air of a dark chamber. The footsteps echoed, and the sound seemed to creep through the room, increasing the feeling of isolation. It was as if we were being taken into the heart of something monstrous, a place that shouldn't exist outside of nightmares. We entered a large hall, decorated opulently but somewhat somberly. The heavy curtains blocked out any natural light, and the statues at either end seemed to watch us. In the center of the room were Diddy and some of his closest guests, with smiles that didn't seem real. The environment exuded a feeling of power that was intimidating, as if everyone there was subjected to an invisible force. Diddy greeted us with disconcerting cordiality. He offered us more drinks, which we automatically declined, despite our stomachs churning. He didn't insist, he just laughed in a way that made me even more tense. Then he made a gesture, and a door at the end of the room opened. Inside, I could see some of the children who had boarded the plane with us. They were sitting, their clothes now wrinkled and their gazes lost. It was not a room for games, nor for rest. It was a place where something terrible had happened, and it was evident in the look of one of the children when it met mine. Diddy then started to speak, but his words seemed to echo in the back of my mind without me really being able to process them. It talked about commitment, about being part of something bigger, about sacrifices. His words were spoken in a friendly way, as if he were offering us a privilege, but each syllable carried a weight that made me want to run away. I felt my palms sweat, and without me realizing it, Peter moved backwards, almost bumping into a table. It was at that moment that one of the guards approached and pushed Peter back to the center of the room, his expression hard and devoid of any trace of emotion. Diddy continued smiling as if nothing had happened. "You see, don't you? We're all in this together. There's no choice, only acceptance." Those words echoed in me, bringing a chill down my spine. Something in the way he spoke made it clear that there was no way out of that situation without serious consequences. The kids were taken back, and we were left alone with Diddy and his security guards. The silence in the room was suffocating. Diddy approached us and in an almost fatherly tone said, "You are special. You are the ones who fit in. This, my friends, is a circle that few have the privilege of knowing." His every word seemed to wrap my mind in a web of confusion, where nothing made sense, but everything seemed dangerously inevitable. Before I could react or understand what that meant, the security guards approached me. A small video camera showed the recording. And there I was, in a vulnerable state, doing things I didn't remember. I was gripped by intense dread. Now I knew it wasn't...
Hold up, stop for 1 second. He said, I'm going to go back up here. He said, all of a sudden, they brought out a device and they started playing a tape. And on that tape, he was doing things that he didn't remember he'd ever done. But then he noticed it was doing things to children. Okay? So imagine being in this situation. Imagine being drugged. Okay? Just imagine. Imagine not knowing what the hell is going on. And imagine waking up and seeing yourself on video doing the most heinous things ever in your whole life that you never ever would have done had you have been in your normal mind. How many times do you think that this happened throughout the last 30 to 40 years to people that were just trying to do their job? These two were pilots. Just think about that and think about how it changed their lives forever. They have to live with this. And I hope and pray that since all of these things are going on, that they come out and that they actually, do something about this. But in a moment after this gets finished, I'm going to read what Donald Trump had done with the human trafficking, because also in these stories, there's also stories of actual trafficking, of a photographer that went to Diddy's, and a box, Diddy wanted him to take pictures of boxes being removed, and one of them accidentally fell open, and it was a little girl.
Just about getting off that island, I was trapped in something much bigger, a secret they would make sure I never revealed. My body held the cold floor and the soft light that flattens left a of discomfort. My eyes were cloudy, and memories of what had happened the night before came in disjointed flashes, faces, laughter, flashing lights. Everything seemed like a bad dream, but the pain in my body was real. Peter was next to me, still unconscious, with marks on his neck, and in a different room than I remembered. It was not the same where we were in dark, worn wallpaper, with a musty smell permeating the air. There was no one else there. Just me, Peter, and what felt like the weight of our own fear suffocating us. I tried to get up, and every movement seemed to send a warning to my brain.
We'll stop it for a second. The world. All right.
As if my body was protesting any effort. The headache throbbed with every step. But I managed to get closer to Peter and shake him slightly. He woke up slowly, and our eyes met for a moment. Terrified. And the door was opened with force, and one of the security guards who was at the party entered. His expression was impassive, his gaze blank. He gestured for us to get up, and we had no choice, so we obeyed. We walked down the narrow way. We've seen remembered each of our narrow, suffocating. When we arrived at the main hall, the scenery had changed. There were no more guests, no more music. Everything was dark and silent. Diddy was there, sitting in a leather armchair, watching us as we approached. The security guard pushed us forward, and Diddy, with a smile that seemed sharp, waved us closer. He didn't say a word at first. He just looked at us as if he was waiting for something. Finally, he broke the silence.
Hold on. Saying that we're having problems with audio. Isn't that weird? We're having problems with audio? Okay. Let's try this again. All right. So they're being brought in the presence of Diddy.
Button, and the recording began to play. The images showed me and Peter in a state completely out of our minds, doing things I couldn't remember. It was clear that we were under the influence of something, and everything was being used as a weapon against us. The camera turned off, and he looked straight at us, his eye cold. "You know what that means, don't you?" He didn't need to explain. The message was clear. Those images were our sentence. Every word he said seemed to bury the feeling of helplessness even deeper. He talked about how we were now part of something bigger, something we couldn't leave. He spoke of consequences, of the destruction of our reputations, of our families. Every word was a veiled threat, but at the same time, direct. There was nowhere to run, no way to hide. We were trapped. I felt Peter's heavy breathing next to me. His eyes were full of fear, and I knew mine were too. Diddy gave us one last warning before dismissing us. "You will do whatever it takes to keep what you saw here a secret, or you will lose everything you have." His voice was calm, almost soft, but the weight of that threat seemed to crush everything around us. We left there carrying more than fear. There was a feeling that our lives had been ripped away from us. Each step toward the plane seemed to take us further away from the person we were before landing on that island. I knew we would never be the same again, and that secret, that recording, would be a ghost that would haunt us forever. Returning to the plane was enveloped by a heavy, almost unbearable silence. Diddy's words still echoed in my mind, mixed with the buzz of fear that seemed to increase with each step. Peter and I didn't exchange looks, much less words. There was nothing to be said. I had a knot in my stomach and the bitter taste of impotence in my mouth. I felt as if we had left a part of us on that island, a part we would never get back. When we entered the cabin, I noticed a suitcase on one of the seats. It was open, and inside were wads of money, payment for the work. But to me, it felt more like a reminder of the price we were paying and what we would have to carry from that moment on. I wondered if that money could ever ease the weight of what we had seen, what we had done. Deep down, I knew it wasn't. I prepared the plane for takeoff with mechanical movements. My hands moved instinctively, adjusting controls, pushing buttons, but my mind was far away, trying to process everything that had happened. When the plane finally left the ground, I felt a brief, illusory relief, as if being in the air, moving away from that island, could erase everything that had happened there. But the reality was different. Those events were embedded in my soul, and no matter where I flew, they would come with me. During the flight back, Peter remained silent, his gaze lost on the horizon. I don't know if he was reliving the same memories as me or trying in vain to erase them. The sky was dark, and the clouds moved slowly beneath us like a shadow that followed us. The journey seemed endless, but at the same time, I knew awaited us final destination was even more difficult to face. When we finally landed, there was no celebration, no sigh of relief, just the silent impact of the landing gear against the asphalt, a reminder that we were back in the real world, but bringing with us an invisible burden. In the hangar, some men were waiting to take the plane and the suitcase. They didn't say a word, they just gave us a look that made it clear that everything had been planned, that every step had been predicted. I came home that night with a fake smile on my face. My wife hugged me, and I tried to respond, but inside I was in pieces. The feeling of discomfort was almost palpable, as if I had become someone else. As she told me about the day, I just nodded, trying to concentrate, but the weight of what I had witnessed on that island took me away from the reality around me. I looked at my children playing in the living room and felt a tightness in my chest. How could I protect them from such a dark world where power could destroy lives and manipulate the truth? The image of the children on the plane came back to me, their blank expressions, their looks that seemed to be begging for help. I felt guilt crush me, an overwhelming feeling of helplessness, because I knew I hadn't done anything to save them. The payment we received, the suitcase full of money, now seemed like a cruel joke. Every bill was tainted by what we had witnessed, and every time I thought about using it, it was like I was selling my own soul. But the fear of being persecuted, of having my family threatened, made me realize that I had no choice. The feeling of being trapped was suffocating. That night, while everyone slept, I sat at the kitchen table, staring into the darkness outside the window. It felt like something was out there, watching, waiting. It wasn't just paranoia. I knew they were watching me. They had made that very clear. From that moment on, I would be a prisoner of my own memories and the secret that was now part of me.
All right. So, of course, they take these stories off of Reddit. That's how I found Isaac Cappy, he was on Reddit. Of course, they take these stories off of Reddit and stuff like that. And then they put it, somebody talking, mechanical voice talking. And then they put the stories together. But just imagine, let's just say that this is true. Okay. How many lives do you think that this happened to? And how many people do you think that live with these burdens that did not want to do things to children or anything else, but that were drugged with the K or the X or whatever? And how many people do you think that next morning, and they've said this, got to see a tape of what they done? How many of you have ever gotten drunk, just drunk, and kind of black out and not remember the night at all? I have. I didn't even remember the night. Hang on 1 second. Hello, honey. No. Mother Nature came and I said, nope. But I'm live right now. Can I call you back? All right. Love you. He asked me if I went to my doctor's appointment. It's just a regular doctor's appointment. And I was like, nope, because Mother Nature came this morning and I just did not feel like driving. But anyway, just imagine, though. Imagine your life at that moment, even though, you're getting money for your job, but imagine your life being torn apart and you can't tell no one. You can't tell your wife. You can't tell your friends. And if you go to the police, they're not going to really believe you. And you're scared to go to the police because you're on that tape. So when Homeland Security came in and they got all of that stuff, that's the stuff that I'm sure that they've seen. I'm sure that they've went through and they've seen. I mean, he was probably so calculated that he wrote their names on it and wrote what it was. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of you are just kind of sitting here, not saying a word. You're just kind of sitting here like, I don't know if you're in shock or what, but none of this shocks me. None of this shocks me. This is how they work. This is how they blackmail you. And this is why a lot of people aren't saying things. This is why a lot of people didn't say anything. Because they are on them tapes doing things that they normally wouldn't do, that they don't remember. But like somebody said, if Diddy wanted to do business with you, all he had to do was make sure that you drink something and the next morning he got whatever it was he wanted from you. Why? Because he showed you a tape of you doing something, the most heinous thing in the world. So therefore you're guilty too. You're a part of it now. Just imagine being done that way. How would you feel? Am I talking to the air? Is anybody here with me? Because I know just listening to the story and listening to quite a few other stories, it went hand in hand with everything that I've researched. It's crazy. But they don't bring human trafficking against you just because Cassie was with ex-partners and stuff like that. That's not what this is about. You guys are going to find out in court that that's not what this is about. They just broke up the biggest trafficking ring around. Diddy was kind of like what allegedly what you call the head of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they won't let him out, because he's that dangerous. So let me show you something that Trump did in 2020. I thought it was 2017. I could have swore it was 2017 because in 2020 Trump did not win. So I don't know why the executive order was done in 2020, but 2020 he didn't win. Remember, it was 2017, but it's showing that it was 2020, which makes no sense to me at all, because am I correct that when we did it was 2016, 2017, which is when the inauguration was. It was the next day after the inauguration that he signed the human trafficking bill. So how come it would be 2020? I don't understand, but let's go over it for a moment. I want to go back to it. It's just like the things that I learned. This had to do with what Trump, had put out. It was an executive order. But the weird thing is it's saying that it was in 2020. So, but Trump wasn't president then. So I don't know if they've got their I don't know if they got something different or what. I don't know. But let me read this to you. I want you to get a very good gist of this, because I think they already had an idea of what was going on and how they were going to combat it. Okay. So it says the Trump administration is committed to combating human trafficking and protecting the innocent. Okay. We renew our resolve to redouble our efforts to deliver justice to all who contribute to the cruelty of human trafficking, and will continuously pursue the promise of freedom for all victims of this terrible crime. Okay. Now, combating human trafficking, President Donald J. Trump has prioritized fighting for the voiceless and ending the scourge of human trafficking across the nation. Now, I want to see, is this the one? This is not the one. Okay, so hang on just a second. I got the wrong one. This is just talking about it. It's right here. This is the executive order. And this is why Homeland Security was involved, okay? President Donald J. Trump signs an executive order for combating human trafficking and online child exploitation in the United States at the White House Summit on Human Trafficking in honor of the 20th anniversary of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000, Friday, January 31st, 2020, in the East Room of the White House. But how? He didn't win. I just don't understand. So he signs the trafficking order, okay? Where is the traffic? Lord, I'm trying to find the trafficking order. No, I want the executive order. What in the heck? Hang on. I'm going to go through it, because it's going to make a lot of sense as to why human trafficking was put on. So I might just have this. I don't know. Okay, hang on. Okay, this is it. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Trafficking Victims Protection Act 22 U.S.C. 7101 ET Sequent, it's hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, policy. Human trafficking is a form of modern slavery. Throughout the United States and around the world, human trafficking tears apart communities, fuels criminal activity, and threatens the national security of the United States. It is estimated that millions of individuals are trafficked around the world each year, including into and within the United States. As the United States continues to lead the global fight against human trafficking, we must remain relentless in resolving to eradicate it in our cities, suburbs, rural communities, tribal lands, and our transportation networks. Human trafficking in the United States takes many forms and can involve exploitation of both adults and children of labor and sex. 21st century technology and the proliferation of the internet and mobile devices have helped facilitate the crime of child sex trafficking and other forms of child exploitation. Consequently, the number of reports to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children of online photos and videos of children being abused is at record levels. The federal government is committed to preventing human trafficking and the online exploitation of children. Effectively combating these crimes requires a comprehensive and coordinated response to prosecute human traffickers and individuals who sexually exploit children online, to protect and support victims of the human trafficking and child exploitation, and to provide prevention education to raise awareness and help lower the incidence of human trafficking and child exploitation into, from, and within the United States. To this end, it shall be the policy of the executive branch to prioritize its resources to vigorously prosecute offenders, to assist victims, and to provide prevention education to combat human trafficking and online exploitation of children. Section 2. Strengthening federal responsiveness to human trafficking. A. The Domestic Policy Council shall commit one employee position to work on issues related to combating human trafficking occurring into, from, and within the United States, and to coordinate with personnel and other components of the Executive Office of the President, including the Office of Economic Initiatives and the National Security Council on such efforts. This position shall be filled by an employee of the executive branch detailed from the DOJ, the Department of Labor, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Transportation, or the Department of Homeland Security. Remember this word, Homeland Security. B. The Secretary of State, on behalf of the President's Integrity Task Force to monitor and combat trafficking in persons, shall make available online a list of the federal government's resources to combat human trafficking, including resources to identify and report instances of human trafficking, to protect and support the victims of trafficking, and to provide public outreach and training. C. The Secretary of State, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Labor, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall, in coordination consistent with applicable law. I. Improve methodologies of estimating the prevalence of human trafficking, including in specific sectors or regions, and monitoring the impact of anti-trafficking efforts, and publish such methodologies as appropriate, and establish estimates of the prevalence of human trafficking in the United States. Section 3, prosecuting human traffickers and individuals who exploit children online. A, the Attorney General, through the Federal Enforcement Working Group, in collaboration with the Secretary of Labor and the Secretary of Homeland Security, shall improve integrity coordination with respect to targeting traffickers, determining threat assessments, and sharing law enforcement intelligence to build on the administration's commitment to the continued success of ongoing anti-trafficking enforcement initiatives, such as the Anti-Trafficking Coordination Team and the U.S.-Mexico bilateral human trafficking enforcement initiatives, and coordinate activities as appropriate with the Task Force of Missing and Murdered American Indians and Alaska Natives as established by Executive Order 13898 of November 26, 2019. Establishing the Task Force of Missing and Murdered American Indians and Alaska Natives. B, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security and other heads of executive departments and agencies as appropriate shall within 180 days of the date of this order propose to the President through the Director of the Domestic Policy Council legislative and executive actions that would overcome information sharing challenges and improve law enforcement's capabilities to detect in real-time sharing of child X abuse material on the internet, including material referred to in the federal law as child, you know what. Overcoming these challenges would allow law enforcement officials to more efficiently identify, protect, and rescue victims of online exploitation, investigate and prosecute alleged offenders, and eliminate the child X abuse material online. Section 4, protecting victims of human trafficking and child exploitation. The Attorney General, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and the Secretary of Homeland Security and other heads of executive departments and agencies as appropriate shall work together to enhance capabilities to locate children who are missing, including those who have ran away from foster care and those previously in federal custody and are vulnerable to human trafficking and child exploitation. In doing so, such heads of executive departments and agencies shall, as appropriate, engage social media companies, the technology industry, state, local, tribal, and territorial child welfare agencies, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the law enforcement at all levels. B, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, in consultation with the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, shall establish an internal working group to develop and incorporate practical strategies for state, local, and tribal governments, child welfare agencies, and faith-based and other community organizations to expand housing options for victims of human trafficking. And notice right here, he even said tribal, which is the tribal, which means that that's Native American government, because the Native American government is different than our government. But he put it in there so that if something like this happens, they can get help too. So Section 5, preventing human trafficking and exploitation through education partnerships. So then he says the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security, in coordination with the Secretary of Education, shall partner with state, local, and tribal law enforcement entities to fund human trafficking and child exploitation prevention programs for our nation's youth in school, consistent with applicable law and available appropriations. Okay. Now, it goes down through here and it says this order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive and procedural, enforceable at law or equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any person. Donald J. Trump, the White House, January 31st, 2020. All right. So people were wondering, why did they come in hard and strong and come in with Homeland Security, come in with tanks, come in just blazing at P. Diddy's house? Because they got information we don't know about, okay? But the place I just went to, and I just let you listen to the one story, I'm going to put the link in there, and I want you to go listen to other stories where a photographer went there and he was supposed to be for $250,000, and he was supposed to be there to photograph these crates being, moved in there at the mansion. And he did. And while he was photographing, one of the boxes opened up and boom, there was a child. Now, years ago, we talked about Wayfair and how it was weird that their furniture was like $25,000. A pillow was $10,000 and it had a name beside it. And when you went and looked up, that name is a missing child. Okay. If you want to see that video or anything to do with it, you can go to BitChute with Let's Chat with Betty Washam. You can go there. You can see it. You can see what all was found. You can even, there's even people that worked at Wayfair and they said, yeah, when people would call in for those big orders, we'd have to transfer them over to somebody else, a bigger place. That didn't make no sense. How many times did Hillary Clinton and them write that they got their stuff from Wayfair and just weird stuff, just weird cryptic messages? Okay. But this is why Homeland Security is involved. Now, in one of the things that I watched last night that I'm not going to play today, but one of the things that I watched about allegedly something that Diddy did, yes, the open borders. That's why they said they're working with Mexico. That's why I said it put in there Mexico, that we are to protect people that come from different countries. They shouldn't be trafficked either. And there is one story about it. And I think that's kind of where they got the trafficking and stuff from as well. But listen, they cannot put human trafficking on Sean Love Combs unless they got hard evidence of it. Okay. And as you know, their conviction rate is 98.9%. And once they put you, that just means they have everything. Diddy can fight all he wants. Diddy can throw a baby fit and everything else, about how he's being treated or anything. But if you only knew the way that others had been treated during their lifetime from this individual, there wouldn't be no "I feel sorry for you" BS. We do feel sorry for people. And you know what? I actually pray for Diddy. I pray that Diddy will find God during all of this. I don't know how God's going to react. I know that he's a very loving God, and I know that he forgives, right? If you ask, he forgives. Jesus walked with all the sinners. Jesus didn't hang out with people that were the best of the best. He hung out with the worst because he tried to bring them to God. And you remember Dark to Light, right? You all remember Dark to Light. This if people just knew the severity of it and the way that all these people that are involved in it. I mean, you got to realize they got hard evidence. It's not Cassie from going from state to state like people actually think. And this is the stuff. And you have to really mean it. Yes, you have to ask to be forgiven, and you have to really mean it. But all they're doing is deny, deny, deny. You're correct. You're correct. But you know, I'm just saying that if people knew the stuff like I had researched and could know for themselves by everything that I researched, and it all went together, and know for themselves that this in fact does happen, and how many didn't make it out, and how many lives are ruined, and it finally take this long. But let me tell you something. The FBI will sit on you sometimes for 10 years, and you won't know it. You won't even know. And not only that, but there's infiltrators. They always infiltrate, just like they did with the mob. In some of these stories, they're talking about people that infiltrated Diddy's organization. They're talking about people that came from different countries and had to dig tunnels and be under the scrutiny of a boss named Diddy. They're talking about someone setting their videotaping all of this. And then the guy that escaped took that videotape to the vets, to the correct people. So what I'm saying is we're seeing just a little bit. You don't think that Homeland Security and the FBI prosecution ain't going to come out with guns blazing whenever it comes time for court and bringing out all of this evidence? Oh, believe me, not only that, but I guarantee you that the judge, all three of the judges that he went in front of to be freed, you know, on bail, probably got to see a little bit of some of those videos, because I remember one of the judges saying, I seen that video. The reason they won't let him out is because he is such a danger to America. Not just to victims, but America. He's a danger to America and Americans. Okay. And besides that, other people from other countries. So just know that there's a lot of things. I think it's probably going to be a closed court. I just want to tell you, I do not think they're going to allow, they might allow a reporter or something like they've been doing. And there may be some things that they tell the journalists you cannot put out to the public. You cannot do it. Or they may just let it all come out, all of it. It just depends on how much they want the public to know, on how deep and how cruel and how disgusting the elite can be. And I mean, it just sickens my stomach, because I sit there and I think about all these people that, you know, that have been done wrong, that just were in his presence. And now they're on tape doing things that they wouldn't have done. And they have to live with that for the rest of their lives, that they did stuff like that and they didn't want to do stuff like that. Imagine that happening to you. And imagine you living with that. I wonder if that's why some of the people are not here no more. Because I used to think that. Did it get so bad that they couldn't live with themselves? Because I would probably be one of those people. I had already got to the point in 2015, 16, where I was done with life, and I didn't go through that. But if I had, I might not be here either. There's also a politician that's missing, that's never been found. Santos, okay? There's a politician. And in one of the videos, it's talking about somebody that used to go clean up messes. And when they went to Diddy's basement, they also went down further. And then they saw pictures on the walls of politicians and pictures of taken of people that were not normal, and the people didn't have normal looks on their faces. And in the freezer was meat that wasn't normal meat. And we talked about the Holly Dell, and it had names of people. Names of people on these packages. I don't doubt that at all. Because sometimes I even think, are these people even human after they sold their souls and stuff? Did a demon get inside of them? Is it a reptile? You know, have you heard of the Red Shoe Club? I mean, I don't know. I went years without talking about this and stuff, and I just want you all to know how serious this really is, and it goes a lot deeper than Cassie. It's not, people are thinking, oh, he's just going to court, Cassie this. And yeah, we had a lie Misha that came out lying and stuff like that, but a lot of the stuff she was saying is a lot of the stuff that goes on. So, who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? But anyways, I love each and every one of you. I'm going to get off of here now, and I'm going to do some more research. I will come back a little bit later. I got some other things I want to do, but I am actually like, for some reason, anytime I go on my StreamYards, I'm like super flagged. Nobody sees me. But if I go live on my phone, everybody and their friend is here. So there's something that's not right about this StreamYard. And I think that it's my IP address. And I think that it's being like shoved under the rug. But then whenever I use my phone, it's a whole different thing. I don't know. I just want everyone to just look at the bigger picture and pray that this is the top that's going to start stopping what's going on with the children and where the children are going. Pray that they got the biggest and they're getting the other biggest, and pray that this is going to stop. I mean, remember Ellen DeGeneres? She sat right there with Epstein Island behind her, pretty much laughing all the time, right? Yeah, but those people that are live, they don't know the people that I know. I'm talking about people I know. They're not even getting notifications, SDA, and they don't know Kels and stuff like that. I can guarantee you I can call them right now and they'll say, you're live? I didn't get a notification. You know what I'm saying? It's true. And watch, I could come back. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. Okay, so we got 9 people watching right now, right? Let me come back in about 5 or 10 minutes on my phone and just watch the difference. Just watch how it is. So I'm probably going to stop using StreamYard and stop even showing stuff and just talk about it, or just let you listen, through my phone, because, I'm here. This is my job. This is my little part-time job. And if I'm being shadow banned, that's not cool. You know what I mean? You're welcome, redheaded. I mean, that's not cool to be shadow banned. There's millions of people that could see me live, but for some reason can't see me live. And we're talking, this is people that are sub to me. They've told me, Betty, it's weird when you go live on your phone, I get a notification like that. But when you don't go live on your phone, I don't get a notification. Right. Exactly. Have you noticed that, Jackie? How many notifications have you gotten from me? Because I know I hadn't seen you for a while. I don't think you've gotten that many notifications. and SDA says she don't get a notification until I've been live 2 hours ago. So I just think it's crazy. I just think it's unfair. And I just find that it's crazy that when I try to show you something, I really can't. But if I want to come on here and I want to just do makeup and I want to just do it on my phone, I've got tons of people listening. It's just, it's beginning to be weird. And that's why I'm trying it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get too many requests from people, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. But how many do you get of me? Do you get any of me? Because I hadn't saw you in a while. And you're one of my angels, but I hadn't saw you. And I'm just wondering, you know, just let me know if you're getting the notifications and you're just busy, you know, so that because I'm doing this thing right now to see, is my IP address on my computer, like, you know, to where people can't, you know, where it's like shadow banned. And then when I go on my phone, it's not. I'm trying it out right now. So in about 10 minutes, I'm going to come back. We're going to do makeup. And yeah, I'm going to try it out again. Because anytime that I'm live on StreamYard, oh, well, honey, don't stay in the bushes. Listen, okay, I want to explain something to you. I could go and just make a video for all of you and just upload it and then get your opinions on it. But I go live so I can have you all to talk to me. You know, I'm really kind of bored. My kids are at work. Some of my friends are at work, you know, and I'm kind of bored. And so I go live and I'm like, you know, I want to see what other people think of the journalism that I'm doing, you know. And I know it sucks to peck on your phone, but we also have talk texting. Did you know when I go into people's rooms, I hit that button, that talk texting button right there, and I say what I need to say. Yeah, do I get my words mixed up? Yeah, but they still get the gist, you know, that I'm there. So if you ever have that problem and you don't want to sit there and peck at your phone, just say, push that button, push it right now, and then say what you got to say, and it'll come right up. It's much easier, but it's because I miss all of you and I like to talk to you. But when I just sit here and I'm talking to myself, I'm like, I'm talking to myself. Okay, no notification. See? SDA must have just seen that I was live. She must have been scrolling and just seen that I was live. That's what I'm talking about. Let me call somebody right now and see if they know I'm live. Because they're not here. Let's just check it. And I'm going to show you in a minute when I go live on my phone. Watch that.
What are you doing?
Where are you at?
Where am I at?
Where are you at? You didn't get my notification?
No.
Go look at your computer or look at your phone. I was just sitting here telling my girls, my angels, that nobody gets no notification on the StreamYard. But if I go live on my phone, it's a totally different situation. And here you are, you don't even know I'm live.
Nope. 0.
See? I've been live for an hour and 30 minutes. Now watch. No, you didn't get one. You didn't get a notification, did you?
No.
No.
I'll never get one.
See? Now watch. Don't say anything, but in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna get me some coffee. I'm gonna go live again. I'm gonna go live on my phone.
Yeah.
And I want you to text me and tell me if you get a notification. I'm not gonna tell you when I'm going live because I want to see if you show up, I'll know you got a notification. If not, then I know you didn't. But on my phone, they give out notification. on my computer. No.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for the people that I have, right? But I'm being shadow banned.
Again.
Yeah, again, on StreamYard. But I go live on my phone, it's going to be a whole different thing. I just don't think that it's fair.
Well, I've gotten like 2 notifications come through in how many years?
In 8 years. That's what I'm talking about. I don't feel this is fair.
Oh, it's bullshit.
See, whenever I go live on here is when I can actually show. And Just Wimbles just got a notification. An hour and 31 minutes later, she just got a notification. Hey, Just Wimbles, love, how are you, honey? And then
I'm looking at the notifications and I got the bell on. It says all.
Yeah, and SDA says I'll get notifications after your live. See?
What a crock of shit.
And Jackie says I missed beginning of a lot of stuff. And she says she'll get it like 4 to 6 minutes late also. See what I'm talking about? Anytime I come on this StreamYard, it's so that I can show all of you something. But they don't want me showing you nothing.
Well, we talked about that before.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I am completely shadow banned when it comes to going live on this thing right here.
That's because StreamYard's still censoring through Google.
Yep. And I think it's my IP address. I feel it. I just feel it is because watch in about 10 minutes when I make my coffee. See, when I make my coffee, watch, I'll come back and I'm going to do it on my phone and watch the difference.
Right.
It's going to be night and day.
Unreal.
Maybe I need to start using an actual VPN, which hides where, my IP address. So it makes it fair, like, damn, why do I got to be shadow banned? We have a First Amendment right, in the United States of America.
That doesn't mean nothing to the.
Oh, I know.
The shit that's doing it.
I know. So I'm going to get off here. I just wanted to see if you got a notification because I didn't see you here. So I figured not. And I was talking about something really important that I had found and something that went with P. Diddy and stuff. And yeah, no, nothing.
Somebody else is getting ready to get arrested in the next couple of days.
Oh, I know. I'm on it.
They said it'll shock you.
Oh, I know.
I figured you would.
I'm on top of it. Just because I don't come out and like put it out there, I'm on top of it. It's just the only thing is I would like to come out and put it out here for everybody, but I'm just not, I'm not able to do that. So,
well,
anyways,
that's from the past.
Yeah, I know. Ty, I will let you go. I love you, and I'll be live in a little while. If you catch me, you catch me. But just let me know that way that I know I can tell the difference.
I'll keep checking. When are you going live again?
In a few minutes. Like I got to get some coffee and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I'll keep checking in case I don't get a bell, which I'm not expecting.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I will, I'm going to go live in a little while. Cause we got some other things that came up that I wanted to chat about. And, that didn't show up. What didn't show up? It's just so weird because I come live for you angels so that you can talk to me and be in the conversation, and not just get a video afterwards. Just Wimbles, I miss her. SDA, I miss you. Jackie, I miss you. But like they don't want me to. Yeah, hopefully, I know. We talked about that, hopefully. Hopefully. But we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I'll be back. We're going to do some makeup and we'll see. We'll see how many people get my live. We'll get, get a bell or whatever. And you know what it shows me my analytics on YouTube, and it shows me that third is the notifications, right? So the first way that people find me is by scrolling. The second way is by me being live. And the third way is notifications. Notifications is the third and last way to see me. It don't come up as the first. That's not how people find me. That's crazy. Isn't that what notifications are for? But anyways, I'm out of here. I'm going to be breaking some more news, and I'll be coming on my phone to do so. Love y'all. Take care. I'm out. Don't forget your thumbs up.
Betty on the streets, yeah, she brings the heat. Drama around the corner, feeling that beat. YouTube days, episodes unfold. Betty's got the scoop, stories untold. Navigating drama, twists and turns. Betty breaks it down, everyone learns. Go down low, she's got all the tea. Pull up to the screen, come and watch for free. Watch. Betty, on the go. Streaming live, don't miss the show. On the streets, she's our guide. Hip-hop dance, keep it locked inside. Every episode, every time. Betty's here, making it shine. Feel the rhythm, hit the floor. Betty's drama, always wanting more. Catch the vibe, she's in the groove. Pitch the twist, she's got the moves. Drama drops, beats keep going. Dance all night, energy showing. Betty, on the go. Streaming live, don't miss the show. On the streets, she's our guide. Hip-hop dance, keep it locked inside.